Introduction: ASML stock price crash on October 16, 2024. Today, ASML's stock experienced a significant drop, attributed to multiple factors emerging from the ongoing US-China technological rivalry. Media outlets have pointed to mounting concerns over escalating US export restrictions, which are expected to severely limit ASML's ability to sell advanced lithography equipment, such as its EUV machines, to Chinese firms. Additionally, broader market uncertainty regarding supply chain disruptions and ASML's heavy reliance on the Chinese market for revenue further contributed to the stock price plunge. Let's dive into the details. Note this is not investment advice. Background: ASML and its strategic role in the semiconductor industry. ASML is like the beating heart of the global semiconductor industry. It makes advanced machines that are essential for producing tiny, powerful chips found in everything from smartphones to supercomputers. The crown jewel in ASML's lineup is its EUV, extreme ultraviolet, lithography machine, which is the only technology capable of printing the smallest, most advanced chip designs used today. In simple terms, without ASML's machines, companies like Intel, TSMC, and Samsung wouldn't be able to produce the chips that power modern technology. This makes ASML an irreplaceable player in the tech world. For instance, Taiwan's TSMC, one of the largest chipmakers, relies heavily on ASML's technology to stay ahead in the race for cutting-edge chips. Imagine trying to bake a cake without an oven. TSMC without ASML would face a similar dilemma. The importance of ASML goes beyond just one country or region. It's a key piece in the global supply chain. That's why when the US decided to push for restrictions on ASML's sales to China, it became a big deal. You see, China is eager to develop its own advanced chips, and they've been trying to get their hands on ASML's most advanced machines. However, due to geopolitical concerns, especially with the ongoing US-China rivalry, ASML has been caught in the middle. ASML has built up strong revenue streams by selling its cutting-edge machines to global leaders, but it also relies on China for a significant portion of its sales. The restrictions placed on these sales by the US could disrupt ASML's growth in one of its biggest markets, which partly explains why its stock took a hit today. The company is facing a rock-and-a-hard-place situation, balancing between adhering to US policies and keeping its business healthy by maintaining access to its Chinese customers. At the core, ASML is critical to the entire semiconductor ecosystem, not just because of the technology it sells but because of the ripple effect it creates. If ASML stumbles, chip production worldwide slows down, and industries ranging from automotive to consumer electronics feel the pinch. It's why this stock crash today sends shockwaves beyond just the company itself. It has implications for the broader tech world too. US-China rivalry, technological dominance. The ongoing rivalry between the US and China is like two neighbors racing to build the tallest skyscraper. Both countries want to be at the top when it comes to technological dominance, especially in areas like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and, of course, semiconductors. For the US, controlling access to key technologies like advanced chips is a major part of its strategy to stay ahead. In recent years, the US has taken steps to ensure China can't easily catch up, especially in the semiconductor space. Think about it like this: the US is putting up roadblocks in the form of export restrictions to slow China's access to the most advanced technologies. One of the biggest moves was pressuring the Dutch government to stop ASML from selling its EUV machines to Chinese companies. These machines are the key to making the most advanced chips, and by restricting their sale, the US aims to limit China's ability to advance its tech sector. China, on the other hand, is eager to build its own semiconductor capabilities. They've launched initiatives like Made in China 2025, which aims to boost self-sufficiency in key technologies, including chips. China doesn't want to be dependent on foreign technology, especially in something as critical as semiconductors. So, they've been investing heavily in domestic production, trying to catch up. But here's the challenge: even with all this investment, China still relies on foreign technology for the most advanced chip-making equipment that only companies like ASML can provide. So when the US restricts ASML from selling to China, it's a significant blow to China's ambitions. Imagine trying to finish a puzzle without all the pieces. That's what China faces when it comes to building its tech industry without access to the most advanced tools. This rivalry isn't just about chips, though. It's about who controls the future of technology, from AI to 5G networks, and even military applications. Both countries know that whoever leads in these areas will have a massive advantage in the global economy and in national security. And ASML, as a supplier of critical technology, is right in the middle of this competition. Export restrictions and ASML. Imagine ASML as a world-class chef with a secret recipe, and China as a restaurant eager to use that recipe to become a top player. The US, however, has stepped in and said, no sharing that recipe. That's what happened with ASML's EUV machines. The US pressured the Netherlands to stop ASML from selling this advanced technology to China. Why? Because the US doesn't want China to get its hands on the tools needed to produce the most advanced semiconductors, which are crucial for everything from smartphones to military systems. By controlling this key technology, the US is trying to maintain its lead in the tech race and slow down China's ambitions. For ASML, this is a tough spot. China was a major customer, and these restrictions hurt the company's bottom line. But the stakes are bigger than just one company. These restrictions are part of a larger strategy to keep critical technologies out of China's reach. Without access to ASML's machines, China faces an uphill battle in advancing its semiconductor industry, which could delay its progress by years. However, these restrictions don't just hurt China, they also disrupt the global supply chain. Companies that rely on China as a major chip supplier might feel the pinch, leading to delays and higher costs across various industries. It's like pulling out one piece of a Jenga tower. Suddenly, the whole structure feels a little less stable. This is why ASML's stock crashed today. Investors are worried about how these restrictions will affect ASML's future growth, especially since China is such a key player in the semiconductor market. The broader tech industry is watching closely, too, because what happens with ASML could set the tone for how the global chip industry navigates this intense US-China rivalry. Broader implications of the stock crash. Today's stock crash doesn't just affect ASML, it's sending ripples throughout the tech industry. Think of it like a domino effect. When a company as crucial as ASML stumbles, everyone connected to it feels the impact. Semiconductor companies around the world rely on ASML's machines to keep up with demand for chips, and these chips are in everything, from your smartphone to electric cars. For example, if TSMC, which makes chips for companies like Apple, can't get ASML's latest technology, production could slow down. This might result in delays in new products or price hikes for consumers. What's also worrying investors is the bigger picture. The global chip shortage from a couple of years ago is still fresh in everyone's mind, and supply chain disruptions now could worsen things again. The tech world is interconnected, and any bottleneck in semiconductor production hits industries across the board, whether it's auto manufacturers, smartphone makers, or cloud computing providers. Another major concern is that these export restrictions could force China to double down on its efforts to build its own chip-making technology. If China succeeds, it could shift the balance of power in the global semiconductor market. The US is trying to keep control, but a determined China might eventually come up with alternatives to ASML's machines. If that happens, ASML's competitors might emerge from unexpected places. So, today's crash is not just about ASML losing a few sales, it's about global tech industries rethinking their strategies, adjusting to new realities, and preparing for a future where geopolitical tensions continue to shape the flow of technology. Strategic forecast, long-term consequences. When we look ahead, today's ASML stock crash feels like the tip of the iceberg. One big concern is how this might shift global supply chains. Imagine the semiconductor industry as a carefully balanced ecosystem, each part depends on another to function smoothly. When ASML, one of the most important players, faces restrictions, companies around the world start looking for alternatives. For example, companies in China, which were relying on ASML to get the latest technology, will be forced to invest more in domestic innovation. In the long run, this could mean that China eventually develops its own advanced lithography machines, shaking up the industry. It's like trying to build a new bridge when the main highway is blocked. You eventually find another way to reach your destination, even if it takes longer. At the same time, companies outside of China, like TSMC and Samsung, are likely to rethink their supply chains. They might look for ways to reduce their dependence on ASML by investing in alternative technologies or diversifying suppliers. For instance, some chipmakers are already exploring partnerships in Japan or South Korea to safeguard their supply of advanced manufacturing tools. It's a little like diversifying your diet when you realize you've been relying too much on one ingredient. Everyone is trying to avoid being caught off guard by future disruptions. Finally, this situation could push the tech war between the US and China to new heights. If China feels cornered by the US restrictions, it could retaliate by ramping up its own sanctions or developing new technologies to counteract the dependency on foreign firms. And that would lead to a more fragmented, competitive global tech landscape. Everyone is trying to build the next big thing, but in different ways, like a global race where every competitor is taking a different route to the finish line. In the end, ASML's struggles today are part of a bigger puzzle in the semiconductor industry and the broader US-China rivalry. It's not just about one company's stock price, it's about the future of technology and how nations will secure their share of that future. Conclusion: ASML's stock crash today underscores the ripple effects that geopolitical tensions, particularly between the US and China, can have on global industries. The semiconductor sector is vital for modern technology, and disruptions in the supply chain due to export restrictions can cause far-reaching consequences. The US-China tech rivalry will likely continue to shape the future of technology, innovation, and global markets. Note: this analysis is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial or investment advice.